All right, so this is a draft of Joey's Vintage Cube. I was the drafter here. This was 3 weeks ago now, so hopefully I'm not too muddy on it, but I feel like I still remember a lot, so we'll just jump right into it.
And one thing I want to share is this is the based off the vintage cube from Magic Online back at the start of the year. So it's only a few months out of date. Doesn't have any of the newest set of stuff in it, but mostly the Magic Online cube is only a 450 cube, so it's a little bit smaller than that. But mainly cut out the cards that no one ever likes to play in cube anyway. So getting into pack one.
I believe we had some mild calamity about potential pack issues, so I think all of these get counted out. Just to prove I'm not cheating.
Right. Some players at the table are better at counting to 15 when making packs than others, for sure.
This pack was almost really interesting, I think, and then you can see at the bottom became a pretty quick non-issue. The bribery before that was kind of interesting. I think the grief would have been worth considering, but there was not even really thinking at this point.
One thing that was in that pack was Snapcaster Mage, and that's a
Mm-hmm.
card that I think over the last couple of years has gotten worse in Cube, and it would be a thing I'd be excited to see wheel
Oh, definitely.
potentially with Ancestral.
This pack, again, kind of like I pulled out the Ragavan. It's not really a secret in our like friend group or whatever that I've really been desperate to draft Ragavan for a while, but also I think it's probably just the best card in this pack anyways. I did think about the Academy. I thought about something else in this pack, but I don't remember what it was. But at the end of the day, I couldn't deny the monkey.
It's also hard to get blue artifacts in this friend group.
Right.
Lots of blue drafters generally. So
Yeah. At this point, the deck is still pretty wide open, I think. I feel like I can take almost anything out of these packs still.
Right, and for that reason, Arid Mesa looks pretty appealing here to me. Was there anything else you were really considering here?
I thought about the treachery. I am pretty sure the Arid Mesa is what I end up taking, mostly just off the back of the fact that no matter what happens in this deck at this point, I'm going to want red-blue duels. Even if it does end up being a mono red with just Ancestral Recall in it, like that Arid Mesa is going to be huge value for any land that can make the blue mana for Ancestral.
Mm-hmm.
I pulled out the Hell Rider too. I don't know that there's ever really a world where I would take that over the other two options here, but
Right, you would have to go in with that plan before seeing pack one
yeah.
to
In
really
hindsight,
want
though,
Hellrider at this point.
after Ancestral Recall, I just don't think there's ever a world where Hell Rider is even better than the Arid Mesa, even if I am all in on mono red at this point.
Mm-hmm. And of note, Hellrider has gotten worse in recent years. I remember 5, 6 years ago, Hellrider being like the premier 4-drop, but like
Mhm.
Hazoret's really changed that. I think the way the cubes play out now, Koth's gotten better than it was back then. So
Yeah, this pack I looked at and I think I decided to just stop trying to fight the wave. There wasn't really anything here that was super interesting to me outside of the red cards.
I mean, Chain Lightning is still the most open of them.
Yeah. Chain Lightning is the pick here too. Maybe actually, I might be misremembering. There might be another decision pack still to come, but I think
Yeah,
Chart of Course was also kind of considered here. But I think the Chain Lightning is just far and away better. One of my weaknesses generally in Cube is not valuing removal enough, and taking that I think was part of a conscious decision to not make that mistake again.
you mentioned that this was a few weeks ago when we filmed this. Just
Just
another
another
removal spell
removal
there.
there. Yeah, that pack wasn't exciting.
I'm trying to remember where Scott and I were sitting in relation to you because none of these. I'm looking at what I drafted on that day, and none of this looks that familiar. So I'm guessing I was not very close to you.
Yeah, that pack I pulled out the Grist. Grist is another card that I love a lot, but already being in blue and red, no matter what, I just went with the Goblin Guide. And from here on out, I don't think there's a question of what deck we're really trying to draft.
Mhm.
A couple of interesting ones here. I can't remember what the pick was here. I definitely was thinking about Colligan's Command. I can almost guarantee that.
But if you're already looking to splash
Yeah.
blue, that is a surprising Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if I took that or the Bone Crusher Giant there. I think the thought was just with all. I mean, I've taken nothing but one drops at this point, right? Like, and we get another one drop to follow it up. So it was just a reload.
Sure. Both red cards wheeled in
Yeah.
Hazaret and the Vampire. So
I do like this vampire a lot. All memes that we've made about its inclusion in the cube and our friend group aside. And I think that if I hadn't taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 one drops already, I probably would have taken it here. Hazard, kind of a non-bow in a Wheel of Fortune Ancestral Recall world, I guess. But
I mean, I find in Cube I'm chucking cards with Hazaret pretty frequently. Like, if you're playing Hazaret and then the next turn or the turn after Ancestral land, chuck 2 cards, like, nothing
absolutely,
wrong
yeah.
with that.
And yeah, I just think the Phantasmal Image was also considered here, but I didn't want to go into like more blue than I had to at this point. Didn't feel worth stretching when the mono red cards were still so good. The Hell Rider wheeled here, and that was a pretty big fist bump moment, I think.
No consideration to taking the Ferostodon instead after having just taken a 4. I guess maybe with this 3 in mind.
Yeah, I don't think as much of Ferocodon in this cube. I mean, I think that card is really good, and in the absence of another red card, I think I would play it, but I don't think it's better than Hell Rider, really.
Sure.
And the 2 other cards I consider out of this pack wheeled, but again, kind of the same thing as earlier. I didn't see any reason to start trying to stretch my mana for a card that is a better version, but is kind of just the same thing at the end of the day.
I would be ecstatic to have this start to any draft.
Yeah,
This already looks like a slam dunk killer of a deck.
yeah, the Hell Rider into Rabble Master Wheel were definitely, and I don't even think that those 2 cards are even the best card that I wheeled in this draft. So,
Well, it's
yeah,
very apparent that you're just completely alone in the red aggressive deck.
Pack 2 again. I don't know that this pack would have been interesting. The only red card in that pack was Fire Blast, but
It is nice that that's one you can almost guarantee will wheel.
Yeah. I mean, we were really happy after pack 1, but after pack 2, pick 1, I think I was just over the moon at this point.
So 3rd, 4th drop.
It's a 3rd, 4th drop, which I feel a lot less bad about now that I have this Black Lotus in my deck.
Since we're splashing, I guess we're not looking that much at Urza Saga, even though you do pull it forward there, at least recognizing it.
Yeah, okay, I did take it over the Chandra there. Well, I guess spoiler. It gets Black Lotus, and it also gets Bomat Courier.
Also, it's maybe a reasonable expectation that Chandra is coming back.
Yeah, and it also makes guys on turn, turn 2 and 3, which currently this deck has a lot of holes.
Dare you?
Do what?
You're like, oh, I can't believe there's not a card for me after you just have like 17 perfect cards.
Yeah, but this pack didn't have anything for me in it. Hello? It's tragic. I'm pretty sure I took this Pyroclasm because I didn't want it to kill me.
Lotus A-Call, perfect mono red.
That's fair. In my head, I always am thinking like best case scenario, and like maybe our mana ends up perfect, and that Cauldron Complete off of Stoneforge gets in. But maybe we've already seen Stoneforge. Actually, I don't remember.
I don't recall. That pack was really boring as well. We had an off-color duel. We took Cathartic Pyre again just for a kind of a gas card. This pick, I think, may have been wrong because I'm pretty sure that I took Coercive Portal here.
Interesting.
Over the Flametongue Kavu, mostly just again off the back of having not a lot of, I guess I can't even say not a lot of card draw at this point. I have like 4 cards, but mostly just off the back of Black Lotus, I think, and it being a card that potentially juices up Urza's Saga monsters, which I don't think I ever actually made a single one the whole draft.
Yeah,
just no red cards in this pack.
I think the argument of what if I turn 1 Portal is interesting. Mm-hmm. I think that argument is worse if under the assumption that the Chandra comes back around, because that would be our like 5th 4.
Right.
Are you at any point looking at these red-white lands like the Jetmir's Garden, the Inspiring Vantage, like?
I was just about to say that I think I did think about them. I actually think that Sacred Foundry ends up in the pool later, just off the back of that being a decent support color. This was the Fire Blast came back, which was this only a 7-person draft? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that's 8 cards. Never mind. No, yeah. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
The Pyroclasm?
Yeah, I was counting the Pyroclasm. Chandra came back here too. That's only the 9th card in this pack, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Which if I have 2 picks from my first pack would mean there were only 7 people in this draft. Right?
I don't remember specifically.
I don't either. Not
as we've said a couple times, it was a while ago.
Cauldron Complete did end up in the pool. At this point, we're just taking cards that we don't want to see. A couple of dead picks in the middle there. The Hero's Downfall and unknown green card.
Yeah, just skipped over those.
Yeah. I have a bad habit of not putting cards on camera, and I'm very certain that's what happened there.
Our curve got a little bit higher that pack, but also we got a Black Lotus. So.
Yeah, I was going to say that, well, there weren't a lot of red cards to choose from, for one. And for two, I was way more willing to take the expensive cards once Black Lotus was involved.
I have a really bad habit when I have a Lotus fairly early in a draft that, like, I make a lot of my picks just assuming I'm always going to have Lotus when I want it.
Yeah.
Just because, like, it's so exciting, and I can't get my brain out of that mode. So right. I totally understand that.
I think at some point in the day we talked about JIT and how I feel about it, which is that in low to the ground, aggro decks is not when it's at its best in cube, but this packet was not up against a lot that was super impressive. I probably should have thought about the Skull Clamp here, I guess, especially with like Rabble Master.
I think I like Winter Orb and Chromots over either of the equipments, but Rabble Master is a strong argument.
Yeah, which honestly isn't even something I considered until in this moment just now with the Skull Clamp, but I did end up going with the Chromox there. Again, everything we just talked about. I have all these 4 drops. I'm not always going to have Black Lotus despite my hopes and dreams.
This point in the draft, okay.
We are very excited to see the Steam Vents because after taking that Arid Mesa, we have gotten just no payoff for it up to this point. But
yeah, if you hadn't seen that, like, are you at this point considering possibly not playing the Ancestral or just really going extreme on your mana base to make it work? Like, what's your thought process?
I think, I mean, it's easy in hindsight, but I think I would have just crammed it in. You know, I don't really, I mean, I have Ragavan, I guess that would be the only thing that naturally makes other colors, but I don't know. I wouldn't see myself cutting that card really. That would probably be a pretty, like, undisciplined deck building error maybe, but Metamorph is the only castable card in this pack. Not very exciting. Lelia, the pack before, was really exciting. We passed a Fury for that, which was disappointing, but Lelia has synergy with a lot of other cards, or not a lot. It has synergy with Ragavan. And something else that I might not have picked yet.
I mean, it works with Chandra, right?
Chandra is the other card I was thinking of right now, yeah.
Ooh, like this Embercleave.
I like the Embercleave. I like the Ancient Tomb more, though. Again, just back to everything we've been talking about the curve creeping up here. Koth, I considered. Embercleave, I considered.
How many cards left in the pack? Embercleave probably comes back unless someone just randomly takes it.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Pretty sure at this point I was just counting cards that Ancient Tomb was going to accelerate me into. And the number was reasonably high.
Oh, good stuff here.
Yeah, just an absolute top tier mono red card in this pack.
I'm legitimately tempted by that light up the stage. I don't know if it would be close to correct, but
we got our Winter Orb back too. The other card we considered out of that pack.
Ooh, Xander's Lounge.
Xander's Lounge was in the pack with the theme vents the first time. I kind of wanted this Abbot, and I kind of didn't want to take Xander's Lounge because it comes into play tapped. But I really wanted another fetchable land, so
I think I'd take the 2-drop.
yeah, I think that's definitely a fair argument to make. I think my only...
I think you have enough playables, though. Like, making your mana better is just
I don't know
important.
what I was counting here. Oh, I was counting non-creature spells, and that's why I ended up not taking the Abbot, because I didn't have a ton of like really high value prowess spells for it. I think was part of the reason I leaned away from it. There are a lot of non-creatures in there. Fury was the best card that I wielded in the draft. That was, yeah. Embercleave and Koth came back in this pack. Like, I don't think there was ever a pick in this pack where I chose between two cards and didn't end up with both of them. Pack, draft.
Well, that'll be the case here.
Yeah. Well, sure. There were 3 options in this pack. That's true. 4, I guess, kind of. I mean, Daredevil is also a fine card. It's just completely discounted by the other 2 cards in this pack at this point, I think. Yeah. But
I don't know. With like 4 drops already, I think I'd look at Captain over Koth. But
Daredevil, yeah.
Or that's Daredevil, fair. Yeah.
I believe this was creature counting.
I mean, if our mono red deck can't support Embercleave.
I just really wanted to pick the Koth. The light up the stage table back, yeah.
Nice. And then that's just the card we use to split up into teams to determine who we play.
Yep. A couple of chaff picks there at the end. So yeah, to say the draft went well, I think would be an understatement. This is the deck we ended up with. I think the only notable cards that didn't end up making it... Oh no, Thundermaw Hellkite did make it. I feel like there was something...
I'm a little surprised to see the Wheel of Fortune making it.
Yeah, let me actually pull back the draft because I really thought there was something... I thought there was something that I ended up cutting.
I assume this Coercive Portal isn't going to make it.
No, Coercive Portal, it did make it. It's in here.
Is Winter Orb not in here?
Winter Orb is not in. That was what it was. It did not end up making the 40. It probably should have been over Coercive Portal, actually. I think that's probably a deck building miss, although I don't think I don't know that I ever drew Coercive Portal. That doesn't excuse the deck building, but that is what went in over it, now that you mention it. But yeah, I think the only cards in this deck that I would, air quotes, be unhappy with would be Coercive Portal, maybe Thundermaw Hellkite. think pretty much everything else in here. I guess Wheel of Fortune to an extent, but I still
Maybe
feel.
I'm unreasonably low on Wheel of Fortune in aggro decks, but
I think. I think that I definitely took it too high and then didn't get punished because nobody was taking red cards at the table. But I probably overvalued it in that spot. I think that's definitely fair. I was just really worried about not having a way to gain resources at that point. I mean, I had Ancestral Recall, but I didn't have. After that, I got Light Up the Stage, Cathartic Pyre,
sure, I'm not surprised that you took
Chandra.
it, but the fact that it made it into the final deck with Layla, Chandra,
Yeah,
Ragavan, etc.
right.
is just a little
Yeah,
surprising.
definitely fair.
We ready to get into the games?
Absolutely. Oh boy, we get both of you in these games. So this was round one. This was versus Scott.
Oh, I gotta leave. Sorry.
You got to go.
Yeah. I guess
Scott
I
had
should talk
a
about my draft
yeah.
a bit here.
If you want to pop into it a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, this was an attempt at Storm that never saw a single viable win condition. You could make arguments about. I think there was a Thassa's Oracle in the draft or something, but no card with Storm on it, and I committed too hard in spite of that, and ended up with a essentially unplayable deck that does nothing. Not to spoil this match, but I'm not going to win.
Hey man, it just instant
Free
value off
land.
of Goblin Guide, yeah.
Yeah, it's I think this match was the match that I did the most things in. That I took the most
Hello?
game action.
Is the life just wrong? I'm already. Did I just goof up the life right at the start there?
Yep. Nice going.
Okay, I was just a little bit behind there. It went.
My in my last 10 or so picks, I cobbled together I think an Iona Reanimator package of like 5 cards.
I was gonna ask about this Putrid
Yeah,
Imp.
Putrid Imp
Yeah.
is the card there.
The Reanimator stuff was going insanely late, and in my desperate scramble to have any way to win a game, that's what I came up with. Never, I don't think, put an Iona into play the entire draft.
Too bad, it would have been very good in this matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
could have been strong.
Olivia
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
top. Olivia, one of the newer Reanimator cards, really good with the ones that give it haste because it
Yeah.
just brings back another creature permanently.
Yeah, that was just a Cathartic Pyre to take down the Imp. I didn't want any Putrid Imp shenanigans.
Especially seeing the Olivia on top.
Yeah, that's a Grim Monolith there.
Yep.
Olivia Mobilized by War is the name of that card, I believe.
I think that's the 3-drop one.
Oh, is it? Yikes.
Yeah.
Just an embarrassment of riches, just Black Lotus in hand. It's a hard life.
This Grim Monolith, we're going to get to cast that Olivia.
Nah, we're
No, we have
It's dead.
Shieldbreaker, so
He killed my monolith.
Oh,
then
that's
killed
why,
Black
yeah.
Lotus. It's just so.
yeah. Yep. So we're attacking with Hazoret here. We see a Dark Petition. No comment.
Yeah, on Swamp Mountain,
Yeah.
Dark Petition. Let's go.
Voltaic Visionary, I believe, is that card, right?
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you what that does now.
Yeah.
Shieldbreaker was right in time. Like, Olivia would have kind of stonewalled some of this aggression.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't show up to just concede. But that is
Yeah, that-
what's happening.
That Olivia Grim Monolith line isn't one that I had considered, yeah, but it doesn't block Hazoret very well. Although I guess I don't remember the mana situation. I don't remember if I would have been able to attack with Hazard there, or if I would have had too many cards left over.
Sure. But Olivia getting back a creature every turn could
True,
mean
yeah.
like even though that creature's tapped and attacking, so it's pretty slow to use them as blockers, but to be able to like cycle through two different creatures
Right.
to have them able to block Hazoret, like it's slow, but the setup was already there.
The first of many turn 1 monkeys that got smote down during the course of the day.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you, not seriously, but had a complaint about me killing your monkey after you
Yeah.
just like lotused me in game 1.
It was very rude.
Yeah.
I just wanted to
Yes,
attack
I
with
will
my
move on
monkey.
in this match.
I spent 2 years trying to draft monkey, and I finally draft it, and it just gets killed on turn 1. What do you want from me?
Of note, there's that coercive portal that you said you don't think you saw that day.
Oh yeah, well,
Now
it made
it's
Lelia
silent
bigger, so
forever.
it did good work. It did exactly the same thing that Winterorb would have done in that position. So
Check and mate.
yeah,
That's a card I couldn't cast.
yep. The card costs 4.
Yeah. So I just looting instead. If you're not taking game actions, what are you really even doing, you know?
Are you even living?
Doesn't look like either of those was a reanimation creature, so we're not under that any real threat, I don't think.
Shocking here. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, and I mean, games like this are exactly why that pick that I took Ancient Tomb, like turn 2 Lelia, turn 3 Chandra, even against a deck putting up a bit more of a fight. I'm not sure. And the Chandra Lelia synergy on full blast here.
It's actually great because if you have any amount of the Black Lotus brain, I do when I draft that card, seeing Ancient Tomb just like
It's just
sort of,
better,
like,
right?
pushes
Like,
for that.
yeah.
Like even if your deck is drafted like slightly poorly because you're focused on this one card, Ancient Tomb sort of makes up for that because it, ramps you. I don't know. I'm saying obvious things, I guess, but
I distinctly remember this turn because I'm pretty sure you cast this Manamorphose, and I told you not to combo me out, and then one of the least inspiring combo turns I've ever seen in my life.
Oh yeah.
It's your classic Metamorphose into Dark Ritual, into... Oh no, this is what it was.
You put the dice on all the mana symbols, and I'm just like
Yeah.
thinking to myself, like, please don't. Like, you're making this seem more important than it is.
Rakdos Signet into Fallen Shinobi, your turn.
Yeah. Yeah, the Manamorphose was just like, maybe I'll draw a card and it'll be good. And then my hand was like, well, I can play this thing, so then I just played the thing. Like,
I was hoping Duretti was going to be our best play, so we could just Faithless looting for the third turn.
Again.
in a row. Like,
I really wanted to uptick the Chandra here, but
is upticking Chandra, it's almost lethal, right?
yes, almost lethal, and it puts our guy out of range of dying to the Fallen Shinobi, but I think at the end of the day, I decided this was the correct way to do it instead of... Oh, yeah, okay.
really fun interaction there.
Yeah.
Should have cast the light at the stage first if that was the plan, right?
Before activating Chandra?
Yeah.
Almost certainly, yeah. I think the only argument there is that the light up the stage cards don't have to be cast right then, but I don't know that there's anything that would have gotten revealed that was relevant that didn't get cast right then, so...
Sure. I guess you don't have any other way that could have answered the Shinobi, but...
Is there like a sequence of cards if you like plus Chandra and then play light up for 1 mana? Is there like a sequence of cards that makes that bad?
Well, if he doesn't kill the Shinobi, it lessens the chance of being able to kill you that turn, knowing that he has light up the stage.
Well, no,
So-
because because Layla is going to become a lethal threat. I'm going to have to block, even if he finds another.
Sure.
Yeah.
But then Chandra only deals 2, as opposed to Layla dealing 6 plus that.
Yeah,
turn.
but the upside is that if you find removal for my Shinobi, like the Fire Blast that was flipped, then
Right.
I'm just dead.
I mean, you're just dead anyway.
You're
at
just
that
dead
point, though,
anyways.
because
Yeah,
the Fire Blast deals you 4, and then the Layla also finishes you off.
Sure. I guess it would have to be a removal spell that didn't also just kill me.
Right,
Yeah.
and I don't think there are any of those in this deck.
Fury?
Yeah.
Fury was already...
Fury had already been exiled, I'm
It's
pretty
a moot
sure.
point.
But
I know
Yeah.
it's the line. And I love 1 mana light up the
yeah,
stage.
I think in a world where this deck has like Flame Slash or something in it, I think it's definitely better, because if I flip Flame Slash, it's not something I can, point at your face, obviously. So, but I don't believe, unless I'm missing something, except for Fury, which was already gone, I don't believe there's anything that can only hit creatures.
I think maybe...
Cleave becomes a thing. That's
I was
good.
going to say Embercleave
True,
or
yeah.
Thunderball, Hellkite, or Hellrider, like the haste creatures, maybe change it. I don't remember
Right.
exactly how much mana you had, but the haste creatures maybe change the math. But with Chain Lightning in hand, like just getting rid of the dude makes what you have lethal. So
Right.
the light of the stage isn't even necessary, except for just giving the 1 power.
Right. Yeah, really at that point, with the Chain Lightning in hand, maybe the correct play was Chain Lightning face and then light up the stage for 1. Just saves a mana, but...
At any rate, you could win that match with a ham sandwich. So
Second match was against Brian, who I meant to look what his deck was. I do not remember. I believe... let me not say what I believe. Let me just find it. Junk Combo Lands Thing. His description, not mine.
I'm sure that means something to somebody.
This just looks like a 4-color Omnath deck. It's got sneak attack in it. It's got some winners. I don't really remember much about this match. I don't mean that in a bad way. I remember the first match because of how Scott felt about his deck. I remember the last match because of one single turn that happened and how cool it was. And I don't have any distinctive memories from this match.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at it now. Brian's deck looks cool.
Yeah.
It has some very expensive cards, and I think its curve is the biggest
The problem, yeah.
problem
No,
with it.
no monkey this game, but one of our 6 1-drops or whatever, so...
Yeah, that makes the deck... What we were just talking about, playing against the deck that has maybe some curve issues, a bit scary.
I don't remember what was in this hand, but I didn't play anything here. I have an idea of what it was. Okay, yeah, now I definitely know what it was, because my Bomat career is going to go down. And then I believe this Renin 6 is getting stomped, yeah.
That's better than the Giant.
Yeah.
I was going to say, the fact that we're thinking it all and not putting the Giant into play has to be a good sign.
Right. Yeah, Renin 6, I believe, probably could have done some work here. I mean, I guess it doesn't kill Rabble Master, so it doesn't really matter, but... Monkey.
Oh no, brain trick. I was gonna say, I know Brian's deck, looking at it, has Vendilion Click, and I was like, if he has Vendilion Click here, he might be able to stay alive. I also don't know, because Brian has not played with a lot of these cards before, if he is going to be cognizant of the fact that whatever he's putting on top is getting monkeyed.
I don't think anything gets monkeyed this turn. Spoiler alert. Because once again, a very rude person has denied my opportunity to play my monkey with
I
Ragavan.
love remand on a
Yeah.
dash.
Remand on the dash is kind of crushing. I mean, I'll just attack for 6 as consolation, and then play the monkey
still get to
anyways. But
cast it, yeah.
but like, I just want to take their cards. My cards are cool, but you know what's cooler than my cards? Your cards.
Yeah, what we really need here is Motzin Omnath fetch land.
That
Maybe
is not a
we can
play
start
that is
putting some stuff
impossible in
together.
Brian's deck.
Yeah.
I believe, yeah, Brian did have a uncolored green Mox in his deck, so...
Yeah, looking at his hand, I'm not seeing much, though.
I believe he might cast a Finale here, although I don't remember what his target was. Because he is just dead on board at this point, I believe.
This might be cast Finale. Take a look to see if there's anything.
I guess it's only 10 damage, actually, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so he's not technically dead on board here.
I don't think that...
Right, because
Yeah,
the
you're
Rabble
right.
Master's 5. 3 goblins and 2 from Ragavan.
Oh, there's a Secure Tribe Elder to grab.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you've got a couple of cards in your hand. It's hard to see any light at the end of this tunnel.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting... I guess he's blocking Rabble Master and then only going to 6. Oh, just kidding. There's Hellrider. All right, well, that was a way for that game to end.
And Hellrider maybe wasn't actually lethal there because I don't think it triggers off the new goblin, or does it? I don't know the exact wording of it.
I'm not sure, but even with not, it was triggering 5 times. Even if he blocks the Rabble Master, he takes 3, 4, 5, 6,
You're
7,
right.
8,
You're right.
yeah.
I think in my initial math, I wasn't counting the Hellrider itself. Yeah.
Yeah. No 1-drop. What a time to be alive.
Yep, and I think that was remand for Brian, so that's a good spot to be. If he can just battle you kind of on curve. Looks like he has Omnath in hand as well, maybe? Or, no, that's Jetmir's Garden is the card I thought was Omnath.
There's kind of an awkward turn in this game. I don't remember when it is. Well, here's our monkey getting denied again. Very rudely, I might add.
Looks like Spire Bluff Canal just on time. Do you have Black Lotus in hand, or is this maybe Chromots for the monk to replay?
This is the
Ragavan?
awkward turn, I think. Black Lotus is involved. Not awkward from a game state perspective, awkward from a execution perspective on my point. Because, yeah, we do have Black Lotus. I put all these cards into play, and then Brian indicated that he had responses to things, so we kind of had to rewind here for a minute.
I mean... Oh, I see.
Yeah, this Black Lotus is going to get Force of Willed. Which, like, kind of seems awkward, but at the same time, if it's the end of my second turn and I have nothing in play, maybe, probably worth the investment there.
Right, for sure. Especially, it looks like we have a Cryptic in hand. Or I thought I saw a Cryptic earlier. Maybe it was what got exiled. But
We finally connected with the monkey and got no value off of it. Had to read the monkey to see if I could play that Plains or not.
Hey, you got a treasure.
True, I did get a treasure.
You didn't get treasure tokens?
I'm pretty sure I yelled at you down the hall to bring them to me.
Okay.
Or I yelled at somebody down the hall to bring them to me. So they show up eventually. I probably just assumed that the monkey was going to keep dying on turn 1 every game. It wouldn't matter.
Oh, this is an unfortunate brainstorm.
Yeah.
Because assuming I was right and there is a cryptic somewhere in there, it must mean he just didn't
There's a
have
treasure
the
token.
other blue mana.
Mm-hmm.
I like this finale to we don't have the second green though to reshuffle. Yeah, a little bit awkward. Oh, this is a draw step click.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely still has that cryptic.
Which, yeah, I don't have any interest in letting that click hang around, but it is going to resolve. Monkey gets out of here. I believe that's a Fury, and not sure what the fourth card was there.
Interesting.
Oh, there we go. Much better. So Cathartic Pyre was the fourth card. I don't know that there was a better card he could have taken there.
Yeah, it's hard without knowing exactly what Brian's hand is.
Mm-hmm. I tried to cheat and draw an extra card. That was my fault. And then the embarrassment of riches continues.
Yeah, I mean, if that had been in your hand, you would have still been able to cast it in response to the click. So
Yeah.
I was having the thought though, did he need to take anything? Like, I don't disagree with taking Ragavan if he was going to take something, but
Yeah.
like that turn you would have had to use the treasure maybe to, like, you didn't have a land at that point, so you maybe would have had to use the treasure to use Ragavan. At that point, you're just refreshing the treasure. Like, I think an argument could be made to maybe leave Ragavan, especially if this Omnath was already in hand.
Yeah. Omnath was pretty spooky coming down here. I mean,
I don't think we have life totals going for this game.
I don't believe that. Oh no, Bomat Courier has attacked. No, we do
And-
it. They just went up because of Omnath landfall.
So Ragavan dealt 1. Oh, Force of Will dealt 1. Okay.
Yeah.
So it just happened to be exactly 4.
Right. Yeah. So we furied the.
Yeah. In that case, maybe I guess you had
Omnath
Fire Blast and Fury, so there was no way to like take a card to protect Omnath. Though Fire Blast at that point you only had the 2 mountains, so would have been a more costly way to deal with it.
I'm curious
I'm
where
just-
Fury went. I must have just exiled it with the shield breaker.
Maybe you have your graveyard.
Oh no,
stacked.
there it was. It was just
Yeah.
pushed over to the side a little bit.
So of note, it looks like we do have Cryptic Command mana. Yeah, there's 3 blue there. We've found that second green for Finale if we want it.
It's the hand is Cryptic Command Finale land at this point.
A little bit awkward still, just because of Rabble Master. And Brian's deck doesn't have any really good ways to deal with Rabble Master.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he had any sort of like wrath effects or anything. That was part of the reason that I kept trying to dash Ragavan. I just didn't want to leave it in play. Plus the instant gratification. But, you know, he just keeps remanding it, so. Punished. See, I don't know that we were necessarily worried here. I think the only thing that was really spooky is just like I was just saying, the prospect of like a wrath or something. But
I think Finale doesn't have any restrictions on what kind of creature it can get, right? I remember
Correct.
Green Sun Zenith can only get green creatures.
Mhm.
So it feels like Brian's best chance here. I know he was playing Kiki Jiki. I'm looking to see he does have Edzark, so he's at a point where if he drew one of them, he could use Finale to get the other. And specifically, like if he drew Deceiver Edzark like this turn, tap down the Rabble Master,
Right.
but we know you have Fire Blast. This is why I wanted to take Fury or Fire Blast. Definitely Fury with the click. Just cut
Mhm.
down on your removal for Omnath and stuff.
It's also worth, I don't remember what ends up happening here, but I think there was some consideration for just, I mean, it's going to die to Fire Blast again, but you can regrow the Omnath with the um,
With the
deck
Finale,
spell. With the finale, that's the word. But
I forgot that it can get from the graveyard. I forgot
yeah,
that was the difference.
which like maybe not the best play, but I don't know that he has anything more exciting going on. And eating the Fire Blast, gaining 4 more life, and drawing another card, I think is potentially something with some merit here.
Mm-hmm. It's just awkward because then it's hard looking at his deck to see what the trajectory is to
Right.
win. He does have a sneak attack in his deck, but I'm not seeing anything that's super worth sneak attacking in because he would have a draw off the Omnath and a draw for his next turn.
Well, he also wouldn't gain life, right? Because you would just Fire Blast with the draw trigger on stack.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Good point.
I think the opportunity cost. I mean, it doesn't really end up mattering, I guess, because I already have Rabble Master in play. But at that point, the cost of sacrificing half of my lands to Fire Blast it isn't like free. Oh, maybe it was. Okay, maybe I just didn't care because of Embercleave on Goblin Rabble Master. But okay, well,
The ending of both those games was so brutal.
yeah, just have it. So this is match 3. This was against Joey. If you want to wax eloquently about your deck for a minute.
I was similar to Brian playing a many different colors of card pile, and I felt better about mine largely because I had some card selection in mine in terms of Ponder, and I can never remember the name Memory Deluge, but ultimately my mana was not good if I remember correctly. So if I stumble even a little bit, I'm just going to get run over by mono red. But I think I have a lot of the cards you were afraid Brian would have as well.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. I remember one card in particular that I was very afraid of that did not have a real impact on this match, but is hilariously featured in it.
Yes, we will save that for when he comes up.
I'm not entirely sure I know what you guys are talking about, so I will get to experience it alongside the viewers.
So I am on a mulligan this game, it looks like, and on the draw, which is unfortunate. I think of the people in the room who I was going to cast a turn 1 monkey against, Joey is the last person who I would expect it to survive against.
It's true. As we've talked about in other videos before, I am someone who is going to take lands and removal spells over anything else.
Yeah. There's a little bit of confusion on that turn, so it kind of got chopped out, but just ended up with a second land getting put into play, the fetch land.
Yeah. I mean, Ponder's a complicated one, especially when you have a fetch land, because you can draw one of the cards, fetch away the rest. I don't remember exactly what I did.
Well, it's interesting too because Ponder is great with Monkey in play, right? Like presumably at that point you know whether or not Monkey is going to hit. So
right now we're talking about the interaction between Goblin Guide and Ragavan, and I was deciding, I think, if I wanted to let the guide trigger resolve before the fetch land, so I could look at the card you were going to get with Ragavan, potentially. And I do get hit. I'm checking out my hand to see what kind of land I want to fetch. Like I said, my mana's not great, but getting to lead on Hollowed Fountain and to fetch a Triome, mana probably won't be my issue here, but I ended up pretty late in the game flashing green off of just these 2 green lands. And here's Oko, who I needed to save me against mono red. Just make food. You don't have enough power to kill Oko right now. So I just need Oko to quickly take over this game, and it seems like he has at least a chance of doing so.
Oh, I remember this turn. This turn was so cool.
So Layla means Oko's not going to get to live, unfortunately. And Bomat Courier means Layla's going to trigger twice.
Well, the most relevant part about Bomat Courier is that Ragavan gets to attack your face now, because before,
Yes.
Ragavan would have had to go at the Oko.
Yes. You get to kill Oko and deal me 3, which is a far cry from me playing Oko thinking there was a decent chance it would live. That's me checking to make sure Layla didn't say once per turn, because a lot of cards recently say they trigger only once per turn. This is me offering that you can Fatal Push one of your own creatures with the treasure.
So
It's also me lamenting that that's the Fatal Push. I think I had just been talking about... We had been talking at the table about me not being able to kill your Ragavan, and you're surprised that I was not able to kill Ragavan.
I think specifically on the first turn of the game, or the second turn of the game, you thought you had Fatal Push in your hand. Yeah.
That's right. That's why I did the ponder stuff you had to cut out, was because I just thought I had Fatal Push in my hand, and I did not. So.
And then Murky shows up.
I might have put too many counters on that.
You did. I was confused. Yeah, there it goes.
Oh,
You announced it as a 4/4 as you played it, and put the 4 counters on it too, I believe is what happened.
Yes, that is exactly what happened. I said the word 4, so my stupid brain just put the die on 4.
Monkey brain.
Well, that's way less impressive than a 7/7.
Yeah, that's true. It's like I'm looking at Metamorph. I think
Metamorph Layla here
legendary.
would just
I
be.
think.
Oh,
Legendary.
you're right. Jeez.
Oh yeah, then the Embercleave strikes again.
Bang.
So on the play, Oko's like the main card I'm thinking about. I had Oko turn 3 on the play last game, but I didn't have the removal spells to lead before it. Here I have a Triome again. Maybe my mana's not as bad as I remember. I was playing 6 basics in this 5-color deck, so it wasn't great overall. And some of my mana costs are pretty restrictive. We saw Counterspell get exiled last game. But leading
Just
on
2 games in a row of Monkey surviving.
good mana. Well, I mean, most of my removal was instant speed. So, doing the fetch right now presumably implies I have something. Oh, perfect mana.
Pretty sure this is a... I'll just let you play it. I don't need to announce them before they happen.
Yeah, I don't know what this would be, because my 2 mana one I actually can't cast here.
It's a Cathar Commando, I believe, is the,
I was trying
the play
to
there.
block.
Yeah, and then Burst Lightning and hilariously reveals Fatal Push again.
Second time. So brutal.
No kill monkey.
Yeah, no kill monkey, exactly. Killing monkey band. Little sequencing mishap there on my part. Played my land before light up the stage, and Joey was gracious enough to allow me to use my treasure instead.
I feel like you don't play the Ancient Tomb here, and for some...
I played the Ancient Tomb. I don't cast the Bomat Courier, though.
You don't cast the blowback curry. But why? I think
I think knowing the cards in my hand, I just didn't want to pay 2 life this turn when I knew I was going to have the mana for it next turn.
I guess that's fair, but you could draw like Hazoret or something. And like you saw my deck. I guess not that much in my deck, but taking 2 damage doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's... I think we actually talked about that exact thing either during or after this match, but I'm fairly certain that my thought there was simply that I knew exactly what I wanted my play to be on this turn, and the mana difference wasn't going to change that. Although, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Colligan's command follow-up, just punished for not taking it, clearly. Eight of clubs from nowhere. Colligan's command doing exactly the things that I wanted to take it to do, but no regrets.
Yeah, in the current iteration of Vintage Cube, I think it is better to be, I've said this many times, better to be just red or just white, and small splashes, like for Colligan's command, can make sense then, because you're not trying to strongly be... What am I gesticulating?
I do not remember what was going on here. This Kitchen Finks was very savage, though.
Yeah, I'm maybe just very hopeful that my Kitchen Finks can win me the game.
Yeah, well,
I'm maybe trying to hype it up.
It ate a Stomp and a Chain Lightning there, so it did a lot of work. Just keep flipping cards with Monkey that I'm never casting. And then this Maelstrom Pulse. Although I shouldn't really complain because they're cards that aren't hitting my Monkey, so...
Yep, I was just thinking that exact thing, that that's another card that could have killed Ragavan. Bone Crusher is a card that I think I frequently undervalue, just like a body on 3 that doesn't do anything right away, and the removal spell.
Through the course of this draft, it definitely grew a lot on me. I mean, I loved playing that card when it was in like Standard, but in the context of Vintage Cube, I think, you know, like I stomped the Ren and 6 with it earlier in the matches, and just like, yeah, I mean, having the instant into a 3-drop is just very nice.
It always feels more innocuous, but definitely has earned its place.
Ah, yes, the Wheel of Fortune.
I think I was upset on my turn not finding a land, and now I'm going to draw a fresh 7. I don't know what I'm considering.
I don't think that this Wheel of Fortune happens. Pretty sure you had evasive action here.
Evasive action. I said this was based on the Magic Online Cube. An exception to that is that I love the card evasive action. Ever since the Triumphs got printed, I have put it in all my cubes.
Which, hilariously, had I attacked first, I could have paid for. But
would you have paid 5 for that Wheel of Fortune, been tapped out, giving me a fresh 7?
Yeah, probably not, actually. I mean, my hand at that point was very bad. I don't remember what was in it.
My hand must be great that I'm willing to counter a draw 7 after I missed so many land drops. I see I have Damnation, so maybe I'm just thinking that I just need to draw, but I don't even have a second black, so it's not just draw a land, it's draw specifically a black land. Yeah. I mean, maybe I already had that Tassiger, and I was thinking that Tassiger stabilizes this board. You hadn't shown me anything to this point that can really deal with it.
Yeah, that's fair. None of my removal spells just outright kill that big idiot.
But I mean, I'm in trouble here to just like...
This turn I remember, and this turn I think... I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think this turn was actually a big inflection point on the rest of this game, because I waffled a lot about what to do with this Chandra, because thought about doing and what I still think I should have done was attack first. Because I don't know. I mean, maybe you don't block, but it feels pretty unlikely that you don't block either creature there when you can, you know, trade favorably with them, and then I just get to kill your guy with Chandra. But I think the hope there was maybe just that the plus would give me something. I'm fairly certain at this point my hand is either nothing but lands or very few non-lands, if any. Yeah, I think, especially in rewatching, that this turn was one of the ones that I wanted back. Chandra just gets exiled.
Yeah, Vanishing Verse doing work there. It was a little awkward that I couldn't cast it on your instep because I only had 1 black mana and I used it to cast Tassiger. That was the 2-drop I was thinking of earlier that I couldn't cast off of Triome Scrubland.
It's activating Tassiger here.
Yeah, it was a little awkward. Also on your instep that I cycled Shark Typhoon for none when even a 1/1 would have been good at that point.
Gave the Shark Typhoon back there.
Yeah, which I don't mind. Like, I can make a 3/3 Shark now. The board's kind of stalled. I'm reading this to remind myself that I would take 2 damage if I target it.
Yeah, it looks like my hand is 2 lands in Black Lotus at this point, which is not where I would like to be.
I'm not sure what I'm considering. It feels like passing is such a strong play. Yeah.
That's what happened.
3/3 Shark.
Oh, Chrome Mox. It's Chrome Mox Black Lotus land. Even better.
See, this 3/3 Shark, I put a die on 3 on, and it was the correct thing to do.
Correct, yeah. 50% of the time, it works every time. And this
maybe I was
treachery
considering Treachery the turn before. And 6 mana, Big Elspeth. Make a bunch of soldiers.
Yeah, this turned into a beating very quickly.
Get in for 7, put you at a convenient 7. Well, I was talking about how you could have tapped Ancient Tomb for free, and while I am going to beat you down, I still hold that by the time I'm attacking you, the game is effectively over.
Right. Yeah, like I said, that Chandra turn I think is a rough one. I don't know that it changes anything really because you just have Damnation in your hand, and I'm pretty sure you drew the second Black Source the next turn. So like, it probably doesn't change anything in the long term.
Well, if I Damnation, then I don't get to Vanishing Verse Chandra at any point, so it is awkward. And I do definitely have to block because if I don't block, I just lose to Embercleave. So.
Oh right. But 3rd game in a row, Monkey makes his appearance. Very timely.
That was me declaring that I would draw probably like Fatal Push or just because I have a feeling.
And then hilariously, just 3 games in a row with the Fatal Push on Monkey.
You can see my head in my hands after it, like. What is that? I think Scott maybe walked into the room at this point. People were starting to come in, hearing my cries of anguish that I could not kill Ragavan.
And then to be followed up with turn 2 Chandra.
That's not all that happens this turn, if
Fair,
I remember
reasonable
correctly.
magic. No, it's not because
Black Lotus. You just went to write down that I take 2, and I pointed and said, "You're not going to cast Black Lotus."
When that happened, I thought it was. Well, at this point, I had sideboarded in Winter Orb. I thought it was Winter Orb is what had happened there.
I'm gonna get hit by Ragavan again. You have 1,000 mana on turn 3.
And mono red, no big deal.
Oust,
another.
That's Oust, another removal spell that could have killed Ragavan in any of these games. We've mainly been talking about Fatal Push, but there's Oust. Truly, truly a brutal comedian, Ragavan is.
Yeah. 5? Am I casting for
5?
5? Oh, I'm just casting Fury.
Yeah, just ready to get me dead.
Oh,
Put me
that's
out
what
of
it
my
was.
misery.
Yeah, we just cast the
Oh.
Fury and then followed it up with Winter Orb. So
God, it's just so rude. Play fair, bros. Good
I'm
lord.
done playing. That's weird because I could have sworn I remembered you also hitting swords to plowshares with Ragavan, but I guess I just got it confused for when you hit oust. But I could have sworn we played one more turn and you hit swords to plowshares.
that's just the
Which-
PTSD that your brain built up for you.
Yeah, swords to plowshares also in my deck. Also Bitter Blossom, which would have been a great answer to Ragavan on either of the games I was on the play. I mean, still not amazing on the play if you have Ragavan on turn 1, but
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any like great life lessons or anything. I picked a bunch of red cards. I wouldn't change any of them.
yeah.
I'd maybe
And
change one of the artifacts, but
it's interesting to hear that you brought in Winter Orb in the match against me. I assume you also brought it in against Brian because he was also playing just multicolor pile.
I did not sideboard a single card until the game I lost against you,
Okay.
because it just didn't
Ain't-
feel necessary.
Ain't broken, don't fix it, etc.
Yeah. But and I think against Brian definitely is a valid point to bring it in for sure. I don't recall what I took out. I feel like I took out something that I felt like didn't matter at all. I mean, it was probably just Coercive Portal because that card doesn't matter at all. But
Especially against me, right? Like, as soon as you take a turn off from being aggressive to try to play the value game, you can't play the value game against my deck. I showed you multiple Planeswalkers. I had 2 more behind. I showed you Treachery. I had all 3 of the 5 mana blue Steal Your Guy spells: Treachery, Bribery, Fractured Identity. So
Right.
it was not a game that you would want to go long.
yeah. And thankfully it didn't. All it
Yeah.
took was having 7 mana on turn 3.
Cool.
Yeah, big fan. Had fun. Would draft it again. Please don't pick red cards. And put. I say A call. I only cast that A call once. I mean, it did kind of bring the
It was
hammer down,
such
but like
a brutal play.
Yeah.
Like you had just been Vendilion clicked. It was
Yeah.
so brutal.
But the Lotus did a lot of heavy lifting, though. I mean, I don't think that's a surprise
Like
to
that
anyone.
Lotus
but-
flip, like your deck performed poetically, like just so mean, so cruel.
Yeah.
Like I think Embercleave naturally has that feeling every time anyway, because like you attack, you want to wait for your opponent to block, so like you pretend you're both playing Magic, and then bam, the game's been over.
Well, that's
entire time.
that's the tell in person, right? Because like you attack and your opponent's like, "Oh, I take," and then you say, "Oh, no blocks," and they just know, right? Like it's still shell shock from that freaking standard format where
but it's also
Embercleave
like
just ran the
if
world.
I have one blocker, it's like you have to wait for me to block something to put Embercleave on something else.
Mhm.
But it doesn't matter which thing to block; you just have to wait for it. I mean,
Yeah. Well, and it's always just like, at least in this particular deck, and probably just in general too. Like I'm pretty sure it got played on Goblin Rabblemaster, who was giant being chump blocked, Lelia, who was giant being chump blocked. Like, it just the blocks just mean nothing even at that point.
cool.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Good deck.
Thanks for the input. Dude, I didn't get to play Urza's Saga. I'm just sad now about all the cards I drafted and didn't get to cast.
I know. I was during the draft. I was excited for Urza Saga finding Bomat Courier.
Yeah, like, it's just like little things like that I just wanted to do. I just wanted to live in a world where I get to like turn 3, activate Urza's Saga, make a goon, sacrifice it, get Bomat Courier, and then play Bomat Courier.
You
That's so much
probably
to
don't
ask.
want to go turn 1 Saga, right? Like
Probably
usually
not.
Saga's a turn 2 play.
Yeah. Probably not.
I mean, with Black Lotus in your deck, maybe that changes it, but